splitting the party. Good luck tonight. Good luck tonight, Autism. Is the Lucky Dog here? Is it okay if we stay? Do you think we need a split? Well, you heard it from the man. We gotta split. Alright. Good luck tonight, Austin. Good luck not falling asleep, Recon. Good luck not falling asleep, Lucky Dog.
That's
In the tractor. Let me close the party.
Sure. Looks like most people are doing laps in the soft tires, which makes me believe that they might be going soft. Wait. Hold up. No, never mind. Wait. Oh. Yeah, never mind.
VTech and Ferrari were the two fastest drivers. It was Austin, and then it was Midnight.
I thought Austin was going to race, but I guess he is.
Why is Aldifer in a... It's on Forza in a free play lobby? Okay. Alright, 7:30. We finally made it. Oh, ladies and gentlemen in the stream, welcome to our version of the United States Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Let me see if I can get my facts straight here. 3.4 mile racetrack. Seems like it was particularly made for F1. One of the newest additions to the calendar. I think the first race was in 2012. And you have multiple things that make this track unique. Especially that uphill turn 1 section, followed by the range of S's, followed by the very long backstretch, and just about everything in between makes this track unique on its own. Last week at Russia, if you guys missed it, I strongly encourage you guys to rewatch that. It's an interesting finish in itself. We had 2 lead changes in the final laps that gave Mean Fern his first win of the season. Long time coming. He got it done. Tactical Austin, oh so close to winning the race. Did not play out in his favor. He crossed the line second. Ferrari Nut, who led the majority of the race, finished third. Midnight championship leader struggled but was able to capture a fourth. And the 4 DNFs were Deluxe Core, Justin, Dion, and Riot 2. So we had a shorter field last week. I think we're getting more drivers for this week. But after that race, that definitely did shake the championship a little. Now Midnight has a 22-point lead over Austin. And if he can beat Austin this week, very likely he will be within sniffing distance of locking up the championship, if not locking up the championship. And sitting third in points, Aldifer is 33 behind Midnight. I don't know if he's going to show up tonight, but if he does, do not count him out.
Absolutely. Skunk VTech unfortunately missed the race last week, so he was unable to contend for a win. And as a result of that, is no longer eligible to be a champion in Shake and Bake, which is pretty unfortunate considering he has rapid pace and was definitely had the pace to be um, champion, but that won't be the case here. He's just out here just for the win. And it's now all down to Midnight and Austin between those two who will be the champion. And it's all down to Midnight in order to make sure that he can do the championship of here in USA and alleviate that pressure going into Brazil, because it's a very stressful feeling going into the final race of the season, knowing that you were unable to capture that championship the previous race, and having to fight for it in the final where it's all yours, it all comes down to you. And I'm sure Midnight is aiming to try and achieve that here today at COTA.
Yeah, COTA. Speaking of COTA, it's a home track for many of these drivers, located down south in, I want to say Austin, Texas, the Austin area. Austin, Texas. We've had a lot of drivers here race in previous leagues and have had success. I'd like to keep an eye out on J-Mac this week. He's slowly been improving throughout the season, and this is his home track. He has been very successful, especially in that IndyCar League in Season 2. He was able to get the win. And also watch out for Ferrari Nut, also very close to his home. And he's always fast everywhere we go, and this week there'll be no exception.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ferrari has been probably one of the quickest drivers so far this weekend here at the circuit. Along with some VTEC in practice, he's about 3 times quicker than Ferrari Nut. So, as always, keep an eye out for Ferrari Nut. Technical Austin, he's hanging in there. Definitely has the pace to get at the front. Maybe not as quick as Ferrari Nut, but definitely is a contender for a podium place. Midnight's a little bit slower than those guys, but he's got pretty good consistency, so he's not got too much to worry about. Well, actually, he does have a little bit. He's got a championship on the line, so I think he's got to focus on that. And I think other than that, I'm not sure. Really sure. Well, I'm not. Yeah. Red Rocket Romeo has been looking pretty quick as well. He's around a little slower than Midnight is, but he's definitely got the pace to be a contender for a top 5. I think maybe if all hell breaks loose, maybe even a podium. And he's definitely one to watch out for. And I think we should see people in their general areas. I don't think we'll see too much. I don't think we'll see too many shakeups in the race.
Looks like Aldifer is coming, so we have a championship fight.
Well, a 3-way now.
For sure.
3-way championship fight.
Threesome. Pull up the dashboard. Here we go. I like that. All right. Also, last week, big thing to note, we got record viewership in a league race. Broke any of our records from last season and this season. So, big shout out to you guys. Hopefully, you guys will stay for a while as well tonight. I think we're going to have a pretty good race on our hands, especially when it comes down to the end of the season.
Yeah, and as always, Brazil provides some great racing, as we saw last season. And this track wasn't able to provide that, but last season we did have a champion crown at the circuit. So who knows? That might be.
I wonder who that
Midnight
was.
could be one. Well, yeah. Well, who knows? We might see Midnight replicate that here today.
Last season, when COTA was the 4th to last race of the season, our very own EVR Lucky Dog was able to win. I think it was his 9th in a row. Win by a comfortable margin over Dick the Rebel and Tactical Austin en route to his locking of the championship. He would go on to win the final 3 races and cap off an incredible season. 15 wins, 12 of them which in a row. And overall, a very successful campaign. Midnight, though, hasn't replicated that performance, but he has been almost as consistent. Hasn't DNF'd out of any race except for Baku. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did forget about that. He did DNF the Baku. It was very unfortunate for him. Considering he's been very consistent, I was kind of surprised to hear that fact. But, he's always done a really good job of finishing the races, keeping it clean out on track. Unfortunately, last week was a bit of a different story at that incident with Dion, I think it was, in the 3rd sector, and that hindered his performance, and at that point there was just no chance of him winning. But other than that, he's been pretty consistent, and that's why he's in the position he's in. He's made all the races. He's been in positions to capitalize on everyone else's. He's won the race at Spain. His only win so far, and same thing. Austin, he showed up to every race. He's been consistent. Not as consistent as Midnight, but those two are where they need to be, and that's why they're there, because they've showed up. Unlike Aldifer and Skunk VTech, they've missed quite a few races. They've had to speed. They've won more races, but as a result of missing races, they've been able to capitalize on what could have been championship seasons from both.
So we load into qualifying, 18 minutes as usual. I know a lot of drivers will be complaining if we get some rain thrown into this, so see what happens there. I'm not too sure what the pole times are. In practice, there were people on the 32s on super soft. So pole lap here, somewhere around that, low 32s.
Yeah, I think from what I did, I was doing 30s in time trial. I think the fastest time in time trial for anyone was a 31 dead by Ferrari. No. So he's got the one that pace, but I don't know where, guys like Aldifer and Skunk VTech, I don't see them put a time up, so I don't know where they'll stack up. And I think Aldifer's coming in blind as well, because he literally did not know practices. He's just pretty much going off of memory into this track, so keep an eye out for him and see how, if he doesn't perform to everyone's expectation, that'll probably be why. But don't be surprised to see Ferrari not on pole, and don't be surprised to see some alternate strategy in qualifying.
Before I forget, shout out to 49er and Modern Fodder for hosting me yet again. I appreciate it. Every single week you guys have delivered, have risen up to the occasion, so a huge thanks as we grind down to the end of the season.
Yeah, and this race, I think with this, I don't know, I feel like I think this is going to be a good one. I'm having a good feeling that, the first few laps are going to be really successful, and it might slow down a little bit because the dirty air is such a massive hindrance in that first sector, and, this is an air-reliant track. Might see it feel more spread out, but I think the first few laps are going to be very intense.
J-Mac is out on track, where I said keep an eye out on him, so hopefully he doesn't disappoint me.
Yeah, so J-Mac's out on track. Let's see who else is on the circuit. I saw another Carter, Skunk VTech. Skunk VTech was fastest in practice, so he's going to be one to look out for. I mean, everyone is out here to look out for, to be honest. I mean, I don't have a lot of guys here, and I have a feeling in the first few laps it'll be a race of attrition, because that first sector is pretty easy to have an accident at, considering it's similar to Silverstone, but it's more sooner. It shows up earlier in this circuit, which could lead to a bigger pack, and who knows, maybe an accident, but hopefully that won't be the case. Interesting enough, J-Mac is on these softs. This is early in the session, but I also noticed that he's going to VTech on the ultras, so that's a very interesting choice for him to go on the ultras early on in the session. He might just put in a lower ERS mixture and probably just try and settle that. Nothing too flashy later on. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the three tire compounds are the Ultras, Supers, and the Softs.
Yes, you're right.
So J-Mac on the hardest compound on the tire as he starts his first swap of the of Dakota Circuit of the Americas. I'll say that instead. Not Circuit of the Americas. He goes to turn one here. Second gear, pretty blind corner like most of the hairpins on the circuit. Putting the power down for turn two. Easy flat. Now going for the S section, similar to Silverstone. Pretty easy to get a corner cut. Way easier than Silverstone, in my opinion. He's just fifth gear, end of the first section now. They're pretty tight left-hander now, being up to this right-hander that's uphill, and being to a left-hander that's right in your, that comes straight into your face. And another left-hander, easy flat. Almost challenging parts of the circuit. Breaks a little early, gets a little distracted by Alderfer on his that lap. Now that hairpin he just went through, in my opinion, one of the most tricky corners in the circuit. I feel that there's so much understeer, and that's the corner where you definitely need where trail braking is required. Then the DR straight goes into the third of many hairpins. And with this mini right-hander where it's very crucial to get the throttle down right with another right-hander, which leads to a double left-hander that's pretty tricky to get the apex right. It's a double apex corner. And also there's a little bit of elevation change there, which is pretty difficult to put that throttle down. Now here's the triple right-hander, which we've seen in Turkey before, except it's the opposite way around. Now going to the both corner, very easy to get a corner cut or an extension. Heading to the final corner now. Uses the curve nicely. Heading towards the liner now, and that is a 35 dead. We'll definitely be seeing times quicker than that. SnB F1 was on a lap, on his that lap, but now reverted to the pits. Boarded on his lap.
Now we have Midnight Championship leader entering today's race, rocking the soft tires, and what we've seen, something that we've had of him this season, a characteristic of him, he doesn't necessarily qualify up towards the front. We've had many races where he's qualified in the back midfield and has been able to climb up into the top half of the field, sometimes even a podium finish. But the races he does qualify well are the ones that turned on, as he sets a 1:33.7 for pole.
It's not about a lot for him. He was doing 31s in time trials, so he's definitely got pace to contend for a top 3 starting position, but that's a pretty good start to the test for him now on these soft compound tires. Let's just see who else on a lap. I believe Alderfer's on a lap. He's not using any ERS on this lap. He's on the ultra soft tire. Maybe just take it easy. Looks like Justin's on a lap.
We got Ferrari nut in the final corner here.
He goes fast to pole. 33. 33.2, so only half a second quicker than Midnight. So Midnight did a pretty decent lap there. Ferrari at half a second advantage now on pole. Looks like Justin was starting his lap. Oh, very late when it comes to the shifting. Braked at the right point, but he didn't shift immediately down, so that's a very interesting choice. I would have downshifted a lot sooner than that. It looks like Red Rocket Romeo is on a lap. I'm bouncing back and forth between drivers. He's in the third sector, heading towards the triple right-hander. Now that corner is very difficult, especially when the tires start to wear out and your tires starting to overheat. Good luck, because it's going to be a handful. And heading towards the final corner, what's the stop going to be? And you DRS wide open now, and it's going to be a 34.2, so a second behind Ferrari nut. Different side back in so far already in the qualifying session. Looks like Austin's on the lap, using mode 0 ERS. Seeing what he got for later in this session. See if anyone else here is on the lap. I think Justin's on his lap. Let's go back to him. Yeah, I never see he's just shift downshifting. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing here too, but he's just downshifting a lot later into the corners. That would have just kind of hurting his entrance into the corners. And very interesting choice there. That's definitely losing a lot of time. Definitely looks like he's having a little bit of understeer, having to turn into the corners a lot more out of the exits. Here comes his wrist towards the line now. What's that going to be a 34.6. Going to put him in the fourth moment. But definitely those times will be coming down a lot quicker on later on in the session. Most of these guys are on a soft compound tire, so that's very, very interesting that most of these guys are on a soft. I thought they were maybe going on the supers or something. Here goes Austin now on the ultras. Not using any ERS. Racing towards the line now, D6. Austin goes 36.4, so he's in 8th right now. Three and a bit, actually no, a little less than 3/10 behind Alderfer, who's on the same strategy as him.
In games right now, I don't know what he tried to do there. I think he was following Red Rocket down there to get some slipstream, but that's a little unnecessary. If You guys caught that on my stream?
I missed that, but I noticed he's in mode 1 ERS, so I don't think he's putting full beans in this, or he's backing out of it. I don't know, but
Oh, now he's going into 5. Oh boy.
there's a little bit of lag there on my screen. I don't know if you saw that when he lost the back end. He was a little twitchy. Yeah, there he goes. A little bit of lag here. Actually, looks like he's gonna start a lap by the looks of it. Now put it to mode 5. As he goes fast as well. Okay, I mean that's a statement. Goes to 32.7, half a second clear of Ferrari now. What even using mode 1 ERS at final sector of the lap, so that's a pretty old lap time by the Mercedes driver. Going through the field, and Romeo going off the circuit, trying to let some people through. It's the penultimate corner. I think he's out of field by the looks of it. I don't know if you're seeing that on the stream, but it looks like Red Rocker Romeo underfueled his car a bit too much because he is pretty low on fuel. But he's in the pit road now, he should be fine. Gonna be going on board here at Riot 2. The Renault driver has had a pretty good so far, been very consistent as well. I believe he's 5th in the championship. Scored a few podiums here and there, is still waiting for that Lucifer to win. Known for being pretty skilled in the wet. But has yet to win a race so far. It's definitely improved a lot over this season, and has definitely been a fantastic driver to watch. Heading towards the quarter now, misses his apex. Still keeps going with this lap in the final quarter now. I think this lap time is going to be, it's going to be a 34, I think. It's going to be a 134.6. 300ths of a second quicker than Justin. And he did miss an apex, so he has definitely got a lot more time to find. It looks like Alistair is getting on in another lap too. I think he may have cut the corner in the first sector as well. It was a lot of curve last week. The spectator view is slightly a little different than what so gotta keep that in mind. Now heading towards the hairpin here. The curve very nicely. Gotta be careful on the I'm gonna try and put up my track map here. Heading towards going down to DRS straight. The top speed is going to be 207 miles per hour. I think he may have just hit 208. Not 100% sure though. He's a little bit of a curve on the entry, but that seemed to have hurt his corner. And oh, he's also going to save it. Doesn't hit the wall. Fantastic job of keeping up the wall, but that has ruined his run in qualifying. But he's still got plenty of time to put on a set of supers or ultras. That wasn't like it was going to be a good lap for the front row. Unfortunately, that attempt has gone away. He's going to continue. I think he might be going into the pits, actually. Yes, indeed, he's going to the pits. Oh, he's going a bit too high! Oh, he's hit the wall! Unfortunately, he doesn't lose a wheel. He was very lucky.
Oh, Riot 2.
And Riot 2 just comes to the pits. He's through. Oh my goodness, that could have been a calamity in the pit road entrance. But Alden were very lucky not to have lost a wheel and entering there. I hit the wall straight, didn't hit an angle, so fast thinking from the McLaren driver.
While we have some downtime, I did get a weather report for this race. It is supposed to be dry and cloudy all weekend, so rain may not be a factor like it has been many times this season.
Oh, definitely rain would spice things up for sure, and guys like Ride 2 would definitely love to hear that, but that won't be the case. So, expect a lot of people to be pushing pretty hard in the first lap. Since it's going to be cloudy, I don't really think that'll hurt, I don't think that'll hurt the tires too much. And, I think everyone's just waiting for stashed. For the end of qualifying, it seems, because everyone is in the pits. Probably checking your fuel, how much fuel they got, tires to be on, making nice, minute changes to the setup here or there. And in fact, I think we may see a lot of guys vary from the super softs to the ultras. Gotta keep that in mind as well. Because I think the people in the ultras are gonna suffer a little bit in the first thing, because a track like this, Tower is gonna pay off in the long run. A circuit where there's a lot of high-speed corners, I think, where those ultra stuff runners are gonna suffer that first thing, where the super stuff runners are gonna thrive a bit more. And who knows, maybe we see some people still starting as soft tires. So you gotta keep that in mind as well, that those soft runners might give those who are on the super softs and ultras run for their money.
Three and a half minutes left. Now you have to wonder, you see all these guys waiting. It's going to be congested when they come out of pit road if everyone waits till the last second.
I think it could be potential mind games, but no, in this game, the later you go out, the track evolves over time. The track becomes quicker, and I think these guys are just trying to come out as late as they can, just to get the best grip, get the most grip that they can, and exert everything from the car. And it's their strategy. But I'm looking at the pits right now, and you can scroll and see what tires people are going to be choosing. It looks like Alpha's going to be choosing his super softs. Looks like Tactic will also be choosing his super softs. VTEC super softs. Ferrari super soft. Looks like most of these guys are going to be choosing the super soft tires. Still see a bit of softs. It's mostly super softs and soft tires that people are choosing. I haven't seen anyone choose the ultras in the pits yet. And our first driver coming out right now, I believe that is Ferrari Nut, I think, if I'm correct.
Yes.
That's indeed Ferrari Nut. So he is, he's out on these supers.
We've also got Oliver out there. So now people are starting to filter.
Another driver on these super soft tires.
So all some of the super soft guys going out there first.
Looks like that'll be the common strategy for these guys in qualifying. Just have that better first stint in the race.
All these other guys, they are waiting a little too long.
I go out pretty soon. I want to give myself some time. I don't want to have to push them out lap and wear those tires out. I want to give myself some time to warm up those tires, relax a little bit before I go out. So some of these guys, I'd go out pretty soon, guys.
I don't
think time to get a lap
I don't think anyone else is going out. Yeah, nobody else is going out. It's just first, second, ninth, and 10th. How ironic.
I think they're trying to start. Something tells me they want to start in the soft tires, which is a bold move. Starting these soft tires, but they're gonna have a better first than most of these guys. So, something to note. But we're gonna go on board a Ferrari for now, since it's the first driver on track. Because he's going to be starting his lap very shortly as he's heading towards the triple right-hander. I'm going to put my strap up and make sure I get the corner names right. Heading towards turn 20, the final corner of the circuit. Get a good exit. Doesn't use any curb. It's going to help him for this first DRS straight. Under 193 miles per hour. Oh, he misses his apex a little bit though. A little bit of the curb, not the best turn one for the lap. However, he's going to keep going with it though. You got to keep going with it. You still want to get a good lap time. Heading through the Magus and Beckett X section. Heading through turn 7, now getting through turn 8 and 9. A pretty challenging part of the track. He loses a little bit of time there. I think he just went a little too hot. Had to brake it. That's his run over because he's already in mode 0. So he will be starting on these soft compound tires.
We got VTEC also out here.
Yeah, we got Alpha on our lap though. He's quite a bit ahead of VTEC. Yeah. Racing towards a hairpin. It's the corner pretty nicely. Very smooth rather. He is very smooth to steer. helps for the race, but maybe not helps in qualifying too. But he might need be a little more aggressive on this lap. Heading through turn 16, 17, now 18. He's all the road. Oh my goodness, that could have been an accident there. He used a bit too much exit curve. That was in the foundation, but he's going in the final corner, turn 20. This lap going to improve. Racing towards the line, it's going to be a 32.4. That is an invalid lap. So he's going to be turning all the way down to 9th place, and that's Austin improves. So Vitek racing towards the line. He's a lot of curve. He can exit. He gets back in. It's going to be a 31.3. So that's a pole position for Vitek at the moment. Can Austin have to say about it though? I think quite a bit on the pace compared to Vitek. But hey, any starting position can help for this championship though. Close like that between him and Midnight. Heading towards the north of the corner. Taking it very nice and smooth. Turn 20. It's very nice. He doesn't use up the exit curve. It's going to be better. No, it's a 32.7. That moves him up into P2. Woo. So a lot of guys starting on the hardest compound tire, which is something you don't see every day, and I'm pretty surprised. I was not expecting that at all.
Austin, this is
there you have it
for him now. Sits in the back, and then last lap pulls out a top 3. He'll be looking forward to trying to get a good jump on this. Very similar to Spain, in fact. I think the top 4 were identical in the Spain
But a
race.
tough break, though, for not unvalidating his lap. He's unable to start on his super stocks. He's going to have to start in those ultras and suffer for that first stint. But he's going to have to make the most of it. Anyway, he's pretty good when it comes to power anyway, so he definitely has the talent to do so, but he's definitely gonna not have an easy time doing that, and it could hurt his championship run, because he's only 33 points behind Midnight, and he has to finish ahead of Midnight by at least 8 or so points, and in order to advance to the next round, but I think you never know. It's definitely, he can still do it, but that is definitely gonna hurt his strategy. He's gonna, he won't be as flexible, unlike this guy's in the soft tires.
Yes, indeed. Just a few seconds away from getting underway here. We've still got 3 drivers going for a championship with 2 races left. All of them with the potential to take it down to Brazil and decide Shake and Bake's Season 2 F1 champion. Will it be Midnight from Ferrari? Will it be Aldifer from McLaren? Or will it be Austin from Red Bull? We'll figure that out in the next week as the 5 red lights are just about out. The race is underway. Here we go in the Star-Spangled Country.
Vitek defense heavily going into turn 1.
Vitek runs wide.
Contact! Contact! Oh, they're almost 3 wide of turn 1 going towards turn 2. And Austin is in a lead. Vitek made a mistake and he's lost a lot of time. Ferrari is side by side now with Vitek. I gotta be careful here, don't want to make any mistakes in that first lap. Midnight just hanging back, watching it all happen. He's side by side now with Vitek. I wouldn't try to make an aggressive move. You got a championship to fight for. Vitek's out of it wisely. Austin already pulling out a second advantage over Ferrari on these soft tires. Let's watch Vitek now. He's right behind Ferrari now. Looking to make a move. He's got to move for ERS. He's going to move to the right. Is he going to make a move around the outside, heading towards what corner is that? That's towards the hairpin. I'm just going to say towards the hairpin. Oh, but Ferrari is going to dive on the inside. They're going to be side by side at the hairpin. It's going to Vitek is going to move up a place now into second. Going to try and win this race. Defends into the double left-hander. The stadium section. Just turned 15 now, heading towards the triple right-hander. All he's doing is just losing time to tactical Austin. He's out of for making a place. He's already up to P6.
He's on the move already.
There you go at the end of lap 1. We got Austin moving up a place into the lead. SnB F1 losing a place in the second. Ferrari in the third. Midnight fourth. Riot's in fifth. Alderfer, as we mentioned before, moving a place, made it 4 places up into 6th. JMax 7th. Red Rocket in 8th. Deep Johnson in 9th. And Dion in 10th. Was also making a little mistake in the chicane section. A little too aggressive with the turn and also a little bit of time. Good of him not to crash. That could have been a very easy mistake for him to make. But he has it on. The SnB F1 already piling the pressure. Less than half a second behind him now. As we're heading towards the DRS straight.
On a charge.
He's on it.
Started last, already up to 5th with those. Here we go, battle for the lead.
VTech gonna make it over the inside. Austin's gonna cut him off. He's still gonna hold it, but VTech can he make a dial the inside? No, he's gonna think better of it. This is some great racing here. Can VTech make it with the inside of turn 15? Yes, he is.
Oh, contact!
So, still the track, and VTech just like that makes his way back up into the lead. Sensational pace for the French driver. And already pulling out a half-second gap. Ooh, loses a little bit of the back end out of turn 19. Keeps it going now. Now, this circuit here goes also a little wider track now. Around this circuit, time companies are everything. You're going to see a lot of people corner cutting and getting warnings and penalties. So bear in mind for people to accumulate a lot of penalties in this race. And that could decide between points, maybe even a championship later on in this race. The question is how long will it be until those soft tires start to come into their own? Because, those top 2 have got an advantage in terms of the tires. They got the speed of those tires. The question is, how long can those soft tires last? Will they be able to after the race? That's a big question here. We'll find out pretty shortly. Right now, keeping a thin distance behind Austin. He's not going to be within DRS. Actually, no, he is. He's going to get DRS on this straight.
Championship contenders fighting. Alderfer with the Ultra Sauce making a huge charge to the inside of current leader, championship leader Midnight. Alderfer is going to make the pass, and just like has gone from 10th to 4th, not even 3 laps in.
I think Midnight is losing a lot of. He definitely is losing a lot of time, but making a smart move by not racing too hard because that's going to put him at risk of having an accident, and he wants to maintain what he has now and save it later for the race. God forbid anyone has a penalty or an issue or just, wrecks. Because this championship is very important to him and could be a rookie champion. Now be a fantastic honor to be named a champion in Shake and Bake. And I know how that feels being a champion and definitely wants to experience that feeling. Now looks like he's in a pretty good spot though. He's not really being affected from behind. My 2 is sitting back there in P6 at the moment.
Oh!
No, has something happened on the track that I missed, or?
He ran a little wide through there. Costed him a tenth or 2, but it looks like he's recovered a little the first time. Alderfer is just eating away these positions. Now pulling up to Ferrari as Ferrari now pulls up to Austin.
Yeah, those ultras are definitely helping him now, but at some point, I want to say around map 8 maybe? That's my prediction. I haven't had a lot of racing experience here, but around map 8 I think is when those ultras are going to start to wear up a bit, because they're using those tires a lot. There's a lot of high-speed corners, and it's going to really put a lot of wear and tear on those ultras. He's right on the back though. Right now on the back of Austin very much. So Austin lost a lot of time to Ferrari and losing more time to VTech, but VTech's pace is just electric right now. As Ferrari now, ooh, he goes a little wide though. and that's going to give out to the plate.
I think he tried to get, yeah,
not going to do too much there. I think he used a bit too much curve at the entry going into that hairpin, and that unsettled the car a bit. Like he's got a little bit of understeer though. It looks like he's on a controller, so he's definitely going to be impacted in terms of what he can do with the race car. But definitely looking a little uncomfortable when he's racing this. But out for all over the back, Austin. He can get a move before the steer zone.
Our exit. These two guys also fighting for a championship, even though they're not the leaders in the battle. They are still hoping to run down. And Aldifer is going to clear him before they even get into the turn. He's a man on a mission right now, trying to make those ultras last as long as possible, and he can get the most out of them as possible. Looking at the championship, Midnight still holds a lead. However, Austin would now be 17 points behind, and Aldifer would be 25 behind instead of 33. So that puts Aldifer back in the championship hunt and back within a race distance of points.
Now the question is, how much is he going to gain on SnB F1? Because VTech, in my opinion, is the quicker driver, in my opinion. He's shown in some races, like Spa, for example. Let's see if Aldifer can make any inroads on him. Those ultras should start to wear out a little soon.
Supers also feel like they look like they're slowly starting to fade as well.
Yeah, he's losing a little time down the SnB F1, so all that time he made up might go to waste a little bit. He's going to try and fight for the lead, but he's starting to extend that gap to Austin a little bit, though. That gap to Austin's been put out to over a second now. That gap to him and VTech is starting to extend a bit, but I think that maybe just down to the VTech's amazing pace on the circuit. But we have a battle from P3 right now.
Ferrari now looks to the left.
Ferrari going to make a move.
He clears him.
He's going to clear him before the braking zone. Oh, that was pretty good, but I think Austin hit the back then. That's not the case. Pretty clean, nothing to it. There's Ferrari now on these soft tires.
We got a rainbow of tire selection on the podium.
Yeah, there's so many different tire selections right now, and it's just making me wonder, like, what tire is the better tire this time? You know, I mean, is Ferrari now really, are those tough tires coming to their own now? Is it the oil's starting to fade away a little bit? Because it definitely doesn't look like it from Speedtech's point of view. Oh. I mean, there you go. I mean, look at that. So that's stuff with races. Let's say that. I think at 35.7, that's impressive to set a fast stop that, you know, without late into a tire stint. They're doing a pretty good job there, but it looks like Austin's starting to lose a little touch, though. In the front, and there goes Dion for 2 second time. That's unfortunate for him. It looks like Midnight's losing touch as well to the top 4. Not quite had the same pace as everyone else, but I think he's just trying to take care of his equipment at this point. As it stands, the championship fight would go down to the final race because Austin is ahead of Midnight, and that gap would go down to 20 points. So still, so if Midnight, well, I mean, what's this 52 to say anything about that, but that gap would go down just a tiny bit.
And also, Aldifer would be in the championship hunt as well. He would be in 25 points, although very unlikely to get the championship from 25 points out.
He needs both, you know, Austin and DNF. As a yellow flag there, I'm not sure what happened. Someone went off the track.
I think Dion may have looped it.
I think I did see him though.
The main straight.
Yeah, I think I did see that. There's Justin now producing a time penalty. I haven't been paying too much attention to the racer actually, but it seems like there hasn't been a lot of notifications for race penalties. So pretty good effort by all these guys for not getting penalties so early on in a race, because There's a lot of way more experienced drivers, esports caliber drivers who have, accumulated a lot of penalties at this stage in the race. So these guys are doing really good for themselves, keeping it clean right now. They're going a little wide at turn 9. Actually, that was turn 9. I was right. Ooh, got that corner right. So difficult around this track. It's kind of funny just watching, VTech and Aldifer. It's just VTech is in cruise control right now, and he's pulling away. Aldifer, he's kind of cruising too, but he's using a bit of his ERS. Yeah, it just shows the confidence that Skunk VTech has right now, and how comfortable he is behind a wheel. It's just funny to watch how he's just cruising away and not even really pushing that hard. I think Aldifer may be taking it a little too easy right now because Florida is starting to close in on Aldifer right now, and those ultras must be going up a little bit. And he gets the 3-second time penalty. Saw him there, he cut that corner a little bit. That's one corner where it's pretty easy to get a warning for. It's either cutting or extending. That corner you need to be absolutely perfect when you get to go through that corner. And Florida getting a lot of time to break into turn 1. Now he's right on the back of Aldifer, right. Trying to make sure I won't be too close behind him for this section because the dirty air is so monstrous that it can ruin your run, and there's a lot of time from it.
Oh
man, that was a tough call there by Aldifer. Just 1 second. I don't know how he kept it on the road. That could have been an easy wreck for him. But if you're on board Ferrari now, you would have seen that the steering was still delayed, and that's being on a controller, and he's going to make a move from the left. He's going to get this move pretty easily. Up into P2. We're not going to really challenging him. I think at this point, those ultras are kind of close to being done, and I think we might see Aldifer make a pit stop pretty soon. Already out, Ryan starting to open up a gap between himself and Aldifer.
Now as the points would hold with penalty included, Austin would now be 17 behind instead of 22 as Aldifer makes his pit stop.
Nope. Oh. I almost made the same mistake he did before. I almost took the pit entry there. He got very close. Right, who has a 3-second time penalty now, so that's what about 4 different drivers now with penalties.
He already did have a penalty, I think.
Oh, he already did? Okay, maybe I'll try.
Riot to Justin, Dion, and Aldifer, so yeah, I think we've already had 4. Yeah, 4 drivers. There's a battle for 6 starting to brew. J-Max held that position for the majority of this race, but looks like Red Rocket's starting to slowly come into his own.
I was gonna say about Red Rocket, it seems like he's had the pace. It seems like he had decent pace here, but more track position has kind of hurt him a little bit. I'll be honest. It seems like him and J-Mac are always in each other every race. It seems like when they've been racing it. Singapore, I remember they were just mixing stuff. They were bowing out for the majority of that race. It seems like it's gonna be the case here in USA. These are definitely part of it. I'll be honest. I thought Red Rocket was a little quicker, but I think he's just being held up a little bit from J-Mac. Maybe that 30 years isn't helping him. Doing a pretty good job for himself, though. I think he's a driver I think he got a wheel recently. I don't know if he's on a wheel. He told me about it. I was like, hey, if you don't feel like racing the wheel, it's racing the controller. I have no idea if he's on a wheel or not. But he's still making some good progress, though. For the P7, we'll go down to P9. P8, sorry, when he'll make this pit stop. But pretty good job for himself out there. Not too far behind Raichu as well. He's behind Raichu, so pretty good job because he's not as experienced as this guy, and he's supposed to race the whole season, but work affected his whole schedule. And He's improving on from stuff, and I think he'll be one to watch out for. I think he might become a new ride to race next season. I think he'll definitely be improving a lot as the next season goes along.
Oliver is able to go by Justin there for 8th. He will definitely be trying to grind his way back up into the podium positions.
Midnight having a lonely race as usual. Nah, I mean, I don't know. He's starting to get a little bit of time on Austin now. I think those supers may be going off a bit, but I must say he's been pretty lonely at the front. Actually, not lonely at the front, lonely in 4th. What am I saying? But that seems to be the case for him. No matter where he's racing, he's always like in his own little zip code. Like he's just keeping a calm, cool, relaxed. And I say he's like the Kimi Räikkönen in this league. He barely gets involved in any incidents. And, you know, when he's racing, he always seems to be in his own little zone, try to keep himself composed, not ruin the equipment, and that's what he's been, it seems like I lost my train of thought there, but it just seems like he's always, you know, not pushing too hard, and, you know, doing a pretty good job for stuff out there, and it certainly comes down on the path of Austin now.
Speaking of Austin and Midnight, if the championship were to conclude today, Midnight would win by 19 points. So that means Austin still has a chance for Brazil, but it is a must-win. If that were the case.
Well, if
so
Midnight were... Now, let's say the race ended now, but Midnight was ahead of Austin. I think that he would have a 25-point advantage. So that would be I consider a must-win situation for Austin, because that'd be a 25-point gap then, but it looks like that Midnight could be passing Austin pretty soon, because he's on harder compound and more durable compound, and Austin's starting to struggle about in the supers, and he's starting to fall into Midnight's trap a bit. Just was down to DRS, and I thought he was going to make it, but was a little too far behind for that.
And there's definitely a lot on the line here. If this move is made, you will be correct. 25 points. And depending on how tiebreakers go, I think Austin still has a chance if the tiebreaker is what I think of correctly. But he would need to do a lot at Brazil, and Midnight would only have to do little. But it's still lap 13 out of 28. We've got a long way to go. Can't predict the champions just yet.
I mean, yeah, it's only the penultimate race. I mean, we got one more race to go, and you know, this race has to finish, and then that next race has to ensue. But Austin being a little defensive on the straightaway there, trying to take him out a bit.
Look at this battle here that we're getting for 6th.
Austin's losing a lot of tires now with the Midnight being very careful and trying to make sure he doesn't lose this opportunity to be champion. Because any incident can ruin your chances. Austin, with those tires, he is losing it now. He has made that mistake and he has lost P3. A lot of time now. I'm going to go back to the P6 right now because that's where Adam is for P6 right behind J-Mac. He should get him pretty easy. He has the pace to do so. J-Mac been doing pretty good for himself out here so far. You know, I had quite a big experience in this track, but he's still doing a good job, you know, keeping Adford behind. Well, a good job keeping him behind. He's a pretty good job. I mean, maybe it could be a little higher track, but I mean, he's been pretty good for himself. And, maybe, I think, you know, he could definitely be a contender in this race if maybe he put a little more effort into this series, but still had a really good season so far, and surprised he hasn't gotten a podium yet.
Indeed, we have the leader pitting at the halfway point. VTech is in. Ferrari Nut will cycle out and take the lead.
Talk about tire management. I mean, fantastic job of him to keep that pace ahead of Ferrari Nut and still have like a 10-second lead over him. Pretty much did almost half the distance on those tires with the qualifying lap on them as well, bear in mind. He also comes in and pits 2 for what I would assume would be the soft tires. There you go, soft tires. His tires are shot. I don't know if you saw on the pits there, but man, half the tires are just absolutely worn. There was definitely a lot of blistering on those tires. He was absolutely murdering them.
he is gonna fall back, probably back to 9th. So about, if I do the math correctly, he's around 4 or 5 seconds behind Aldifer. So Aldifer would actually end up beating Austin with that time penalty. And that's got to be good news to Midnight.
Yeah, and that goes to show that the undercut, is very evident at this track, where tire wear is pretty important. As you see on the circuit, where there's a lot of high-speed corners. It's definitely going to be beating up the tires a lot, and that's definitely helped out throughout the race. But whereas SnB F1 came out in 3rd, and that just goes to show how dominant his pace was. Also came out in 9th, SnB F1 came out in 3rd, and really good job out there for himself. Hasn't been, he hasn't been shown lower than 3rd. He's only been in the podium positions this race so far, and he's really closing in on Midnight on those fresh tires.
Actually, it's not 4 or 5 seconds. Actually, it's closer to 15.
Oh yeah, that's definitely that's a massive undercut. There goes SnB F1 gonna take a dive with the inside. It was a pretty violent dive. I'm gonna say too. I'm lunged up the inside.
Yeah, I caught at the end there.
I guess that moved on. That was gonna be inevitable anyway. Midnight suffering on those older tires. SnB F1 has a new, fresh stock, so he's got that tire advantage.
Austin goes by Justin. Aldifer goes by Riot too. So we had 3 different overtakes on the same lap in the same corner.
Yeah, and that's kind of also due to the fact that tire strategies, who's pitting when, people in your tires having that pace advantage. But I was just gonna say, it looks like Midnight's gonna be, he could still be behind Aldifer because Aldifer is less the puck and be behind. But I was gonna say, yeah, honestly, he was burning up his tires more than SnB F1 was. You definitely see visually he was using a lot of time, using a lot of grip, and as a result of that, 15 seconds behind Aldifer, so he's gonna have to, get his elbows out in order to get anywhere near him.
While we have the chance to, we are at halfway here in the United States Grand Prix. So let's do our weekly mid-race report sponsored by, what's our sponsor going to be today? I think it's going to be the X Games.
Viagra?
It's going to be the X Games. Because here's why after this. Anyways, first place, we have Ferrari Nut 94. Is due for a pit stop in the next couple of laps, but has had a pretty solid race so far to start off. Qualified up front, has ran up front, and if everything goes to plan, he should cross the line either 2nd or 3rd, depending on what happens with Aldifer. In 2nd place, we have SnB F1, who has been not on par, he's been above par this entire race except for the start. He was able to easily get towards the front and is right now looking to keep his momentum up, trying to cap off the season strong and maybe get win number 6 on the season. Yes, win number 6 on the season. In 3rd, we have Risen Midnight. He's also due for a pit stop. Had a pretty quiet race, has run 4th, 5th the majority of this race. When he makes a pit stop, he will very likely cycle out in P5. And right now, his goal, it's one goal, and that's to win the championship. So he's going to be out there making sure that happens, as he's actually coming in to make a pit stop along with Ferrari now. In 4th and about to rejoin 2nd, Aldifer almost jinxed him there. Aldifer in the same position as VTech, where he's missed a few races, but he's been very fast. But unlike VTech, he still has a chance to win the championship, and he needs to hope Midnight finishes. Right now, he needs to hope Midnight finishes outside the top 4. And right now, Midnight has fallen behind Austin, so that's exactly what he wants to see in regards to that.
He's going to be right behind him, though.
He is going to be right behind him. But Yes, Aldifer is trying to keep himself alive for one last week. In fourth, after all these pit cycles, we have J-Mac, and he's had a race where he's ran mainly 6th, 7th the majority of the time, and he's had a very nice battle with Red Rocket Romeo. Don't expect that to end anytime soon. He is also due for a pit stop. And right at 5th place, these two have been around each other the entire time. They're both due for a pit stop. Won't be surprised if they both come in on the same lap. The things have turned out. Yeah, that's how that's going. And in 6th, and getting pressured for 6th, we have Tactical Austin. This right here could be a key championship battle when it comes down to the end of it, because right now, it's VTech gets a 3-second time penalty. Right now, Midnight would have a 20-point advantage as he gets a time penalty. So maybe that battle's going to dissipate, but even right now, 20 points between these front two, and if Midnight is able to end up passing, that turns into 24, and that'll be a lot more comfortable going into the final week. In 8th, we have Riot 2. I think he's made his pit stop. Yes, I think he has. Well, he's made his stop as we see Midnight making that pass for P6. Not sure if it's going to be over here. Sorry, Riot 2, for cutting you off. But battle, he's going to make it happen. Midnight up to 6th for now. Riot 2, anyways, in 8th. He has primarily been running 5th, 6th the majority of the time. And he'll be looking to fit in races end. He's just got to make sure he can keep himself clean on time penalties. Justin sits in 9th. He has had one of the more quiet races of the season for him, but he's been able to keep it clean, and it's just out there to finish and hopefully move on into next week with a lot of fire. Do well at Brazil. And Dion in 10th. Shout out to him for creating this great F1 league and giving me and Lucky Dog a chance to commentate. This week hasn't really gone the best for him, but he's out there, he's doing good, representing Haas for the United States, and hopefully, along with Justin, can end out the season on a high note in Brazil. So that is your Through the Field, sponsored by X Games. And cool track fact, any of you guys notice that big, looks like a big ramp as you go down the backstretch and the front stretch of COTA? They used that for the X Games once. Yeah, they used that for the, I forgot, I think it's the skateboard Big Air. That's what it is. So that's always fun to watch. People fly about 40 feet in the air and then crash and then somehow walk away uninjured. Sort of like how F1 drivers do.
Anyway, it looks like Risen Midnight is starting to open up a gap between himself and Austin as a result of the super soft, and gonna need to put out a big gap. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I could not hold that any longer. Anyway, I'm right. Alright. But he's right behind Rocket Romeo. These two are pretty good friends in comparison, so I'm pretty sure Romeo won't give him too much of a hard time. Surprisingly, doesn't. Oh, there he goes, going to get that already. Oh, I think he should get the move done. Then we're straight away. Gonna make a move to the left. You're only using most 3 of the ERS when you're using high ERS, and he took that move pretty done and easy. Done and dusted right there. Now he's trying to aim and catch Brian, which will be a tough challenge. Brian is a very quick driver, and hasn't quite been on the pace to Brian in this race. I think he's going to need to really start putting the pressure to make some fast inroads. Seems. No, go on. I don't know what I was going to say anyway.
Alright, well, we got the chance. Let's look at the penalties here. We have a little bit of a penalty dilemma, especially with Midnight and Aldifer. So, in regards to those guys, Aldifer has 1 3-second time penalty. VTech has 1, Midnight has 1, and Aldifer's actually got 2. So keep an eye out on that. Tactical has...
Ooh, Dion's crashed. He's crashed the top of the hill at the turn 9.
Oh! Yeah, I was looking at Austin's view there. That's a little scary. But unfortunate there for Dion.
I think he may just lost the traction a bit. Maybe he used a bit too much curve and spun it there. Other than that, unfortunate for him. He still score a point though for Haas. That's pretty good.
Best guess there. That's probably what happened. But anyways, I do think Austin only has... Let me check this because I clearly can't read. Austin has 2 warnings, and Midnight has 1 penalty, but he has no warnings onto that. So if Austin were to get another warning, might result in a penalty, and that could put Midnight in a much more comfortable position. You also need to keep in mind Midnight is on supers and Austin's on softs, so that gap will probably falter down as this race rolls on. And the other penalty situation that's worth noting, Alderfer has 6 seconds in combined penalties. Ferrari Nut does not have any. And Alderfer's on a little bit older softs. Just make sure. Actually, yeah, he's on 7 lap older tires compared to Ferrari Nut, who's 7 laps fresher and on supers. So we'll see how that unfolds as we come down to the end of this race. But right now, if everything were to hold, Risen Midnight would be oh so close to locking up the championship. He would need to make sure Austin does not win, or Midnight can probably start the race and will be champion.
Yeah, so that gap between
now,
Midnight and Austin is about 4 seconds, so he's good for finishing ahead of Austin, and he'll have that 2-point advantage ahead of him, so that'll be 24 points between them, just a point away from a full race victory. He's going to need to rely on Austin to make some sort of mistake, or rely on one of the guys up ahead of him to make a mistake and for him to capitalize.
Right now, this isn't looking very good for Alderfer because the way it ends now this could change as the race moves on, but as it ends now, Alderfer is eliminated from chip contention. He would finish this race 27 points behind Midnight, and that is too much for one race. But already, Austin's starting to not lose time anymore. He's starting to break even with Midnight in regards to time gaps. So maybe the tires are going to start changing as we come down to the final 7 laps.
Yeah, Alderfer, as a result of those 2 time penalties, is going to fall behind for our nut, and would be out of championship contention. But I think at this point, knowing him, I don't even know if he'd be fussed if he had his championship contention or not. I think he's been pretty frustrated with how the season's been going, missing races, etc. I think at this point, just trying to get it done and over with and try to win races, but I don't think a race win will be the case for him, unfortunately, here today. SnB F1 is in another zip code compared to everyone else, and he's going to need to rely on a safety car or mistake from VTech.
Speaking of VTech, about 12 seconds of an advantage. This is something that we've seen a lot this season from VTech. A lot of wins to open up the season for him, but as these races have gone on, not as many wins and a little bit more on the DNF side of things. From what we've seen from this season, every time VTech has raced, he's either won the race or he's DNF'd. Right now it's looking good on the win side, but I don't know if he's thinking about that in the back of his head, but if he is, best be know he's got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like Austin is starting to lose some time to Raitu now, but Raitu has 2 penalties, so it looks like Austin is in a comfortable place to make this championship go to the next round. I was going to say, I thought that Raitu could really turn the championship around, but those 2 penalties, I don't think he'll be able to impact the championship at all. I think this championship may go to the final round in Brazil. But who knows? We thought the race was going to be over at Russia last week, and Ferrari crashed. We thought Austin was going to get the first one, and he crashed. So, and we have 6 laps to go. Anything can happen now. And Ferrari is trying to back up Oliver. I just noticed that.
Oh, yeah?
Oliver's made some sort of mistake. I was just looking at that. I was just watching Austin, and there is now a battle for P2 going on the circuit.
I think the last thing that Austin needs to see right now is these two crash. Because if these two end up wrecking each other out, this would lead Midnight to clinch the championship outright when you compare the tiebreakers. So, I don't know. I think Alderfer's got to be defending for any sort of chance to remain as a championship figure. But right now, Ferrari Nut's got the softer tires, and he's got less laps on them. I think it'll be hard for Alderfer to defend. Plus, he has those 3-second time penalties, so it's going to be difficult. But he's doing a good job now as we start talking about him.
He's doing a really good job now that he's on the back of him defending. He was doing a good job before when he had that 4-second gap, keeping that gap in check. He made a mistake somewhere, and allowed Ferrari to catch up to him. But it looks like, yeah, he's doing a pretty good job so far, keeping the Williams driver behind. But it's going to be difficult for Ferrari. Is a very speedy driver. You might see Ferrari pull a move on out for pretty shortly, and he's a thin DRS, so I think he's going to be able to pretty shortly. But he's a little too far back to make anything happen. About 3/4 of a second behind him.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the results hold, this will be the first time Ferrari Nut finishes second. So it'll be the first time you get to interview him if things play out. And this might also
Actually,
be the...
I think he finished second in Spain, if I recall.
Yeah, I'm very smart. Yes, he did finish second in Spain.
That wasn't even there.
Blunder. Big dummy. You weren't even there.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. And this will also be the second time he finishes runner-up, and this will also be the second time Alderfer finishes third. No, it'll be the third time. What am I saying?
Oh my goodness.
Baku,
The doors.
I'm just forgetting these races, man.
The door is there.
It's been a long season. It's been an awfully long season.
Open your door, walk away. Out for another penalty.
Go home. And there's
that's
another
not gonna have That's out of
Here's another thing to worry about. Here's a thing to worry about. He gets a couple more. Midnight might be able to pass him.
Yeah, he could actually. If there's one more, Alfred gets one more penalty, that would promote Midnight to a podium position. And considering,
let me clarify that.
That'd be really close actually between him and Midnight if Alfred were to get another penalty. So he better be careful because the championship could be over.
Alderfer's got. Alderfer's got 3. Yeah, Alderfer's got 3 time penalties. Midnight's got 1. So actually, oh!
Hold up. I was doing
Alderfer's
something.
out of the race.
Oh, I can't believe I missed that. But Alderfer is now out of the USA Grand Prix. And this could potentially mean a championship on the horizon for Risen Midnight.
Wow. Talk about a change of events.
My question, what is a tiebreaker, though? Because, is it going to be podiums that'll be the tiebreaker when they're heading to Brazil?
Now, doing the math correctly, I went over this with Austin the other day. Actually, I'll explain it after the race. But man, I thought this might have happened. This could have happened, and I was like, I gotta be ready to say something. You guys might be listening to me doing calculations at the end, but wow! Talk about the commentator jinx Alderfer's first DNF of the season. We praise him for he's the only driver that has not finished outside the podium in any of his starts.
What?
But that just contradicts.
But I was gonna say something, and there goes right to the 3-second time penalty. But I was gonna say, no, I don't know what I was gonna say. Keep going. I forgot what I was gonna say. I'll let you now. That was after turn 12. That's a pretty interesting area to crash, if I recall. I mean, This area right where Ferrari is right here. He crashed here, right? That's quite bizarre. It's pretty easy to do the traction there, but for him to retire and leave the wheel there, that's kind of bizarre. We don't really see it. People retire, crash out of a race in that area of the track, so he must have really been aggressive with the throttle.
Well, talk about Thomas.
Really burned those top tires out.
We might change the interview order tonight, so then I can actually run the tiebreakers.
Oh, really? Okay,
I'm gonna run the tiebreakers. So I'll tell you what we're probably gonna do here.
Anyway,
get Ferrari in first, and then B second. Whatever he does, lock up the championship.
yeah, no problem. But anyway, Risen Midnight sitting pretty right now, 53. I bet you he didn't think that was going to happen, so he's probably thinking, what on earth is this going to be like? But now, it's only 2 to go. He's still got to finish this damn race. I mean, he could still make a mistake, for all we know, and it's rare to see him do that, but hey, I'm sure those super softs are going to be suffering a little bit. Now it's at that stage.
Gotta carry this home.
But anyway, he's done a fantastic job this whole race. Hasn't quite been on. He's definitely been doing a very good job so far. He's been doing a really good job this whole season, and must say I'm pretty happy to see him get a win. I mean, he really earned it. And he's had some poor luck, but now, you know, he could be champion at the end of this race if he do the math correctly. And on the final lap already is Skunk VTech, the stage driver. Started on the pole, had a rough start, fell all the way down to third, missed turn 1, but was able to gain his places, getting the lead back on lap 2. And from then on, he's been in control with a 19-second lead over Ferrari now, proving that he still has what it takes to win here in Shake and Bake. He's aiming to get his 6th win this season. And I must say, he's hit all this off perfectly. I haven't seen him make a mistake, besides the turn 1 accident. Not accident, turn 1 mistake. I haven't seen him put a foot wrong ever since. And he has been doing a very good job. As well, right, as he's heading towards turn 12. The hairpin after the DRS, long DRS straight.
Absolutely. Dominant performance by the Frenchman. We've seen it time and time again. Sorry with the mic. We've seen it time and time again, all season long, him doing what he does best, and that's winning the race. In a race in a country dominated by a lot of hometown drivers, it's going to be the Frenchman who wins here at COTA. Win number 6 on the season. And Skunk VTech brings it home. Ferrari at 94. It's a pretty complacent race. Podium run. The majority of the race. He's going to come home in 2nd place, his hometown track. Risen Midnight. We don't know if he's champion yet, but he might be. As he comes around the final corner, Risen Midnight is going to finish off the podium.
Off the podium? I'm pretty sure he's on the podium.
Finish off the podium. Finish off the podium. That's what I meant.
On the podium.
Across the line in 4th.
He's not off the
Riot
podium.
to
He's
5th.
on the podium.
He finishes off the podium. Like he wraps up the podium.
I don't
J-Max
get it. I mean, keep going.
Red Rocket, no penalties, ends up taking over both Riot
Wow,
and
there we
J-Max
go.
for 5th.
Did ever put
No,
him?
he
I knew
finished-
he
he
had the
wraps
pace
up
to be
the
up there, but I mean, he definitely has the consistency too. Good job by him. It's gonna be a matter of time before you gotta get a result.
What I mean by finish off the podium, like he's gonna wrap up the podium, like he's gonna be the last person on the podium, if you know what I'm saying. Like he finishes off the podium. You don't.
You
get
do
it,
you.
no?
I don't get it.
Disappointment.
I don't know.
Disappointment. All right, there you go. Got 3 different flags up there once again. Driver diversity, yes. Did you get Ferrari Nut and VTEC this week? As I run through
Yeah, no
points?
problem. Yeah.
I
Oh,
need
I
to remember
forgot. I
what
haven't done an
everybody
interview with
finished
VTech
each
in a
week.
while. I've got to have to message some questions. All right. Yeah.
Alright, let's see here.
I'm gonna have to wait till the results come up. Here you go. There's your podium. Oh, you missed it. Anyway, we'll see the results at the end of the race anyway.
Let's see if they do it.
That is your results. They ended up getting a penalty this race, but he still did a fantastic job, winning by over 6.5 seconds. Ferrari Nut in second place, sorry. And Risen Midnight ended up scoring at third place. One penalty, so these guys are the top 4 or 5. Did a great job not getting any penalties. So hats off to those guys. Keeping it very clean and consistent race. Yo, I just gotta do some stuff here.
Thanks for inviting them. Appreciate it.
Yep. See if VTech comes in. I usually message him because he is a French driver. Okay, no problem. He messaged me something. I didn't know what it was about though. Okay. 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 Okay, guys, so I'm going to be leading this for the first time, and it feels fantastic. I'm going to interview Ferrari Nut first, just because we're trying to figure out if the championship has been decided yet. So, first of all, Ferrari Nut, fantastic job on your second place performance here today at COTA. Got off to a pretty decent start. Fortunately, unvalidated laps were unable to do a time in the super softs, but kept it pretty clean. Did you think at all that you could challenge Skunk VTech for the win during that race?
At first, yeah, I thought there was going to be a pretty good chance, but he just kept pulling away from me. I'm kind of curious how he can pull 10 seconds on me when I'm on the soft and he's on the super soft, and then he can pull another 8 when he's on the soft and I'm on the super soft, and we're really not that far apart in pace.
Yeah, he was definitely on another level today. Just trying to think of something else to ask. I must say, he also did a really good job today. Not getting any penalties race, which is a pretty tough task to circuit. Most of these guys got penalties. I can't really think of anything else to ask, but other than their next race is at Brazil, the final race of the season. Do you think you're gonna? What do you think of that race? Do you think you got a good shot to get your second win of the season? Maybe a podium?
Yeah, definitely a podium's going to be on the cards, but I'm just going to be excited to get off these Tilka drums and onto an actual racetrack. I hate these sanitized. I hate these sanitized racetracks. So much runoff. There's no penalty if you go off the track, really. I mean, that doesn't cost you anything, really. But that was one of my big things coming into this race, was just don't get any penalties. I got 2 warnings, and that's just because I was pushing on one lap really hard, and it was through the S's, which it's gonna happen. But I only got 2, and after that point, it was kind of like, well, I'm just kind of in no man's land, so I'm just gonna kind of sit here and ride.
Well, despite that, fantastic job keeping your race clean, getting a good solid points here today, and moving up through the championship. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Now, I've messaged Skunk VTech, the champion, about his race here. Hasn't gotten back to me yet, but other than that, I can say that Skunk VTech has performed fantastic around the Circuit of the Americas, and hopefully we can see him next week at Brazil and BDF. It's going to be a soon introduction to you, or transition to you. Are you ready to? Oh no, never mind. Hold on, I got a message from VTech.
I'm still fumbling with the points here. I just want to make this confirmed because this is big announcement. Big announcement.
Let's see what. There's a possibility.
Described in the next couple minutes. Lucky Dog, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Skunk VTech says thank you, and he likes the circuit Austin, and it's one of his favorite circuits. And he had a pretty good strategy here today, and he's hoping to carry that over into the next race. And hopefully we'll see him at Brazil next week. And who knows, he might be able to replicate the same performance here that he did today. Now, over to Risen Midnight. You want me to ask the question, BDF?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So
I don't give you
Midnight...
these chances, so take it while you can.
All right, yeah, may as well. So Midnight, fantastic job on your third place finish here today at the Circuit of the Americas. You had a slow start to the race. You're fifth for most of the race. Were you just trying to find your feet at all during that first inning, or is it just your strategy that you're on that made you have a slower start?
I was just trying to keep it neat and not get any penalties. So I ended up getting the penalty, but yeah, there's no real reason to it. I was just slower. Can't really make an excuse for that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's a bigger picture in this race here. I got a championship looking for. You may have clinched it. We have no idea yet. But once you got that 3-second time penalty, did you have high expectations? I mean, that's a dumb question. Sorry. When you had the 3-second time penalty, did you think that all that you could pull out a massive gap on Austin, and do you think that you could potentially fight and close up on Ferrari net maybe for podium if Alderfer hadn't have had that accident?
Not closing off for right now, but that wasn't my intention. I was just trying to create as big as a gap as I could to Austin. Yeah.
Okay, Doug. Yeah, obviously you and him are the championship rivals so far in this championship. Now that Alderfer unfortunately DNF'd here, but either way, great race so far. So far, I don't know what I'm talking about. Great job in the race. Did a really good job. I don't know how many podiums you have, but scoring how many podiums you've had so far. And BDF, are you ready yet?
Yes, I am ready. I did this I calculated all the finishes, about 3 times, going forward races, backward races, random races in that order, just to make sure the stats are correct and all 3 of my results line up the same. So, as we may know, after this race, Midnight has a 25-point advantage over Tactical Austin. Now, Austin can get up to 25 points next week, and Midnight can get as low as 0. So, theoretically, worst case scenario for Midnight is into a tie on points. Now, how would that be decided? That comes down to tiebreakers. And this is on the base assumption that they do it similar to F1 and more to NASCAR, that it goes down to wins first. Now, Midnight and Austin, theoretically, if Austin wins Brazil, will each have 1 win. So now we take it to the amount of podiums, amount of seconds, amount of thirds. Both of them have seconds and 2 thirds. Okay? Now I take it down to 4th. They each have 4 fourths. And now I take it down to 5th. Austin has 0 5th place positions, and Midnight has 1. So if it comes down to that, then Risen Midnight is Season 2 F1 champion. So congratulations on your success this season. Don't get too cocky in Brazil. You know they'll bully you. So congratulations on your championship, and we hope to see the best out of you next week.
Doppelganger, man, of point standings. Jeez Louise, that is crazy.
So like,
that's insane. You won.
Not really. Like really?
Yeah, you won a championship.
My heart.
Not just finish. I think you could just start in park too.
But I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Of Risen
There
Midnight.
you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's your champion.
Risen Midnight is your champion now. I don't know if Alderfer has something to say here, but he's in the party. I don't know if he's got to say, but he did unfortunately have an accident. What? Not on the stream. Okay, so we might want to end this pretty shortly.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, let's start this shortly. Yep.
All right, so that concludes United States Grand Prix. Overall, a fairly clean race between you guys. Pretty average on the excitement, but never shows to disappoint, especially at this track. Next week, we head to Brazil, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to conclude the season at its end, and we will officially crown a champion. And yeah, there you go. So, Lucky, any other words to add?
Must say the season isn't over yet, but it's been a pretty interesting, very fantastic season to watch from the spectator point of view, and fantastic that we crowned a champion already. And it's pretty crazy. I mentioned this at the start, but both our champions from F1 have been crowned here at COTA. I must say it's a very awesome stat to have in the league. And let's say Rosenman earned that one. He did a fantastic job throughout the whole season. Was very consistent. Barely made any mistakes, and has really well and truly earned this championship. Fantastic job from him, and congratulations.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, just because the championship is locked, that doesn't mean the final positions throughout the field are locked. And of course, we always have Brazil next week, a track that has always been exciting to watch. Last race of the season for a very long time, and it goes back to what, in my opinion, its natural habitat. Anyways, I am BDF48 Gaming. I'll catch you guys next week, and take care.